The day she told me she loved me was the same day she asked me to lie for her. This is the story of how I got pulled into a lie I didn't see coming. My girlfriend, Melody, told me she loved me. Then, not even an hour later, asked me to tell people she'd been with me on a night 2 weeks earlier. She said it wasn't a big deal, just a misunderstanding from a party. But I found out quickly it involved the cops, something illegal, and a version of her I didn't know existed. It started with one small lie and turned into a mess that nearly wrecked everything. We were sitting on my couch, finishing cheap noodles and watching some rerun of New Girl when she told me she loved me. Just like that. I remember I had sauce on my cheek and no clue the night was about to take a turn. I looked at her, Melody, the girl I'd been dating for almost 10 months, and I just smiled, because I really did love her too. She was driven, scary smart, gorgeous in that effortless way, and when she wasn't hyper-focused on law school, she actually had a goofy side I liked a lot. I love you too, I said. She leaned into me. We kissed. It was simple, honest, perfect. Until it wasn't. Not 10 minutes later, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Hey, I need to ask you for something kind of important." I figured it was something sweet. Okay, something about meeting her parents maybe, or going to a formal. But instead, she said this: "Can you tell anyone who asks that I was with you the night of the 10th? I froze. Wait, what? She stayed calm. Too calm. I just need someone to say I was with them that night. Please. It's not a huge deal. Just something I'm dealing with, and I need you to back me up." I sat up straighter. "Why that night?" She hesitated. "It's complicated, but I promise I didn't do anything wrong." I asked if she was in trouble. She gave a weird smile and said, "Not yet." Now, to be fair, Melody had always been private about certain things. Her past, her family, her stress habits. She liked control, and she wasn't the type to overshare, even with me. But she was also insanely focused on her future. She talked about internships the way most people talk about vacations. Getting in trouble just didn't fit. So I told myself it couldn't be that bad, and I said yes, like an idiot. The next morning, I ran into Lila, her roommate, on campus. We were never close, but she knew I was dating Melody, and we'd had a few normal convos at their place when I'd visit. She stopped me right by the library steps and said, "Can I give you a heads up?" I blinked. "Sure." She looked around, lowered her voice. "I don't know what Melody's gotten you involved in, but be careful. Seriously." I frowned. "What are you talking about? She asked you to lie, didn't she?" I didn't answer. Lila just nodded. "She's not who you think she is. Watch your back, Will." Then she walked away. My stomach was in knots. What the hell had I agreed to? I texted Melody, me, "Everything good?" Lila said something kind of weird to me. "Ignore her. She likes drama." Me, "Is there something you're not telling me?" "I promise it's fine. Just trust me. Okay?" I didn't text back. That night I met up with Draven, my best friend, who noticed I looked like I hadn't slept in days. We were eating burgers at this greasy diner off campus, and I eventually told him everything. "Dude," he said, setting down his fries, "she asked you to be her alibi for a night you weren't with her. That's not nothing." She said it wasn't a big deal. Draven gave me a look. "Will, that's literally what everyone says right before it is a big deal." The day after that, Melody showed up to my place unannounced with coffee. Hi, it's like nothing was weird. "Got a sec?" she asked. I let her in, nervous already. She didn't waste time. "I didn't want to dump this on you the other night, but I think you deserve the truth," she said. 2 weeks ago, I drove someone home from a party. They left something in my car. It was weed, like a stupid amount, and I panicked when I saw campus security pulling up outside, so I left. I just stared at her. "You ran?" "Yeah." I freaked out. I thought if they found it in my car, it would ruin everything. I didn't even think. And now what? They're trying to piece together who was there. If someone says they saw me, I could get pulled in. That's why I need you to say I was with you. Just that night. I sat there, silent. She leaned in. "I never meant to get you involved. I just didn't know who else to ask." The thing is, I still didn't know what scared me more. The fact that she ran, or the fact that she had no problem asking me to lie about it. And not just lie. Become her shield. Her cover story. Her get-out-of-trouble-free card. This wasn't just bending the truth. It was reshaping it. And I was right in the middle. After Melody told me about the weed in her car, I couldn't unhear it. She had this way of making it all sound simple, like she was just unlucky or in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the more I sat with it, the more everything started to itch. Something under the surface didn't sit right. I said I'd help her, but I didn't feel good about it anymore. I felt trapped, like I'd been handed a grenade with the pin already pulled and told to just hold it for a second. That weekend, I started noticing things I had ignored before. Melody was always on her phone, always stepping out to take calls. Her texts got shorter, colder. Even her tone with me started to shift. Not mean, but distant, like she was constantly balancing too many plates and couldn't be bothered to check if I was okay holding one of them. I wanted to believe it was just stress, school, the fear of getting caught. But when you care about someone, you pick up on the little stuff. And something about her didn't feel afraid. It felt calculated. I talked to Draven again the following Monday. We were back at the diner, both poking at our food like it had wronged us. I think she's still hiding something, I said. Draven nodded, didn't even look surprised. You think she just conveniently left out the part where she ran away from campus cops? Exactly. Like, who does that and doesn't spiral afterward? Someone who's done it before. That line hit me harder than I expected. What if this wasn't the first time she's pulled something like this? I said quietly. Draven shrugged. Then you need to decide how deep you're willing to go to protect someone who won't even give you the full story. That night, I tried to talk to Melody again. I asked her straight up, "Is there anything else you haven't told me?" She looked annoyed. Not guilty. Annoyed. "I already told you what happened," she said, crossing her arms. But Lila said, "Lila doesn't know anything," she snapped. "She's just jealous. She's always had it out for me." I blinked. Why would she be jealous? Melody rolled her eyes. Because I don't fall apart like she does. She thrives on drama. She likes pulling people into her little emotional tornado. That didn't sound like Lila. She always seemed calm, if a bit blunt. But I didn't press further, mostly because I realized something right then. Melody was really, really good at redirecting blame. Later that week, something unexpected happened. I got an email from FSU Campus Integrity Services. Just one line. "You've been listed as a potential witness in an active student conduct case. Please schedule a meeting at your earliest convenience." I stared at the screen, heart pounding. A witness. To what exactly? I texted Melody, "Me. Did you list me in some report?" "What? Why?" "Me, I just got an email from student conduct." "It's probably standard. Just say I was with you. That's all you have to do." That last line made my stomach turn. I wasn't even a boyfriend anymore. I was a pawn. When I met with Officer Lacey, she was calm and polite, but her eyes were sharp. She'd clearly done this before. We sat in this little beige room that felt more like a DMV than an interrogation space. She slid a piece of paper toward me. "Is this your name and contact info?" "Yeah." "You were listed as a reference by Melody G." I nodded slowly. "She claims she was with you the night of February 10th? I swallowed. "That's what she told me to say." Officer Lacey tilted her head. "Is that the truth?" And I just sat there, frozen. I didn't answer her, not right away. I asked if I could think it over and come back for a second meeting. She agreed, gave me her card, said the truth always comes out one way or another. That night, I called Lila. She answered on the second ring. "Will?" "Yeah, look, I need to ask you something." "About Melody?" "Yeah," she sighed. I figured this was coming. There was a pause. Then she said, "Melody's been like this since freshman year. Always charming. Always one step ahead. But when she screws up, she expects everyone else to catch the fall. Has this happened before?" "Not exactly like this," Lila said. "But close enough. Last year, she lied about missing a midterm and got another girl in trouble for covering for her. Claimed she had a family emergency, but she was in Jacksonville at a concert. Why did no one report her?" "Because she's terrifying when she wants to be, and no one wants to be her target. She gaslights, manipulates, spins every story to make herself the victim." I sat in silence. Lila added, "I tried to warn you." "I know. I should have listened." "You still can." I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed replaying everything. From the first "I love you" to that quiet, controlled tone in Officer Lacey's voice. I wasn't just in too deep. I was knowingly in too deep. The next morning, I emailed Lacey and asked to come back. She scheduled me for that Friday. I didn't tell Melody. When she texted to ask how I was doing, I just replied, "Busy. I'll call you later." I didn't call. Because for the first time in 10 months, I wasn't sure I wanted to be her boyfriend anymore. I sat in the waiting room of the campus conduct office, knees bouncing, palms sweaty. There was a small poster on the wall about academic integrity and a plant that looked like it hadn't been watered in weeks. The door to the interview room opened, and Officer Lacey gave me a small nod. Ready? Not really, but I stood up anyway. This time, I didn't plan on lying. We sat across from each other again. Same chairs, same fake smiles, but something in me had shifted since our last meeting. "I thought about what you asked," I said. Officer Lacey gave a slight nod. "And?" "I wasn't with Melody the night of February 10th. She didn't flinch, just clicked her pen and scribbled something down. She told me to say she was. Why do you think she asked you that?" I looked down at my hands, because she knew she might be caught. And I was the one person she figured wouldn't question her. Officer Lacey leaned forward. "Thank you for your honesty. It felt weird. I should have felt good, clean. Instead, I walked out of that room feeling like I'd just set off a bomb. Because now everything was real. This wasn't just between me and Melody anymore. That night, she showed up at my apartment. I should have known it was coming. She knocked like nothing was wrong, like we were still in our little love story and not on opposite sides of a decision that could derail her future. When I opened the door, she smiled like she'd been practicing. "Hey, can we talk?" I stepped aside. She came in and sat on the edge of my couch like she didn't belong there anymore, which she didn't. "I heard you went back to the conduct office." I didn't respond. Her smile faded. "So, what did you tell them?" I kept my voice steady. "The truth." She blinked. "What truth?" "That I wasn't with you." Silence. "Then, you really did that?" I nodded once. "Will, you don't understand what this could do to me." "I do," I said, "but I also understand what it would have done to me if I kept lying." Her expression shifted, like a curtain dropping. The softness was gone. "You said you loved me." "I did," I said, "but I never said I'd burn my life down for you." She stood up, pacing. "So that's it? You're just throwing me to the wolves?" "You threw yourself there," I said. "I just stopped holding the leash." That hit her. I could see it, but she covered it with indignation. "You really think you're better than me?" "No, I just think I'm done pretending you're someone you're not." She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just stood there, staring at me with this tight, unreadable expression. "I trusted you." "No, Melody, you used me. That's different." She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And with that, she turned and walked out of my apartment. No goodbye, no apology, just silence. The fallout came fast. A week later, Melody was placed on academic probation and temporarily suspended from her internship. Apparently, the stash in her car had been enough to violate multiple policies, even if she hadn't been charged with anything by law enforcement. Rumors spread quickly, but no one said my name. Not because Melody was protecting me, but because I hadn't made myself part of the mess publicly. I kept my head down. I stayed off social media, I focused on my job, my classes, and on talking things out with Draven, who, to his credit, didn't say "I told you so" even once. Lila texted me 2 weeks later. "Lila, you okay?" Me. Getting there. "Lila, you did the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like it." She was right. It didn't feel good. It felt like grieving someone who never really existed. A few days later, I found a box at my doorstep. Inside, the hoodie I let Melody borrow, a movie stub from our first date, and the record she once borrowed and never returned. No note, no explanation, just the past, neatly packed in cardboard. I kept the record. Everything else, I dropped off at the donation bin by the gas station. I didn't need souvenirs of a love that had come with conditions. It's been 4 months since Melody walked out of my apartment. 4 months since I told the truth in that beige little office with the weak AC and the file cabinet that buzzed when it rattled. 4 months since the girl I thought I was going to marry packed her lies into a look of disbelief and slammed the door behind her. And somehow, I'm still here. Not broken, not bitter, just better. The weeks right after were the weirdest. Not because of what happened between us, but because of what didn't happen. Melody didn't try to text, didn't try to spin it back on me, didn't show up crying or raging or pulling her usual guilt trip tactics. She vanished. Lila said she probably wasn't allowed to contact me once the conduct board officially opened the case. But even after that blew over, still nothing. And honestly, that silence, it told me everything. I thought I'd feel empty, but I didn't. I felt clear, like I'd stepped out of fog and could finally breathe again. I started getting my routines back. Gym in the mornings, work at the cafe on weekends. I caught up on school and even started helping Draven film dumb skits for his media class again. Nothing major, just regular life. And damn, regular felt good. One night, a few weeks after everything settled, Draven and I were sitting outside the diner. He was eating fries like they were air. I was sipping a milkshake and watching traffic roll past. "You ever think she's gonna pop back up?" he asked. I shrugged. Maybe. "What would you do if she did?" I thought about it for a second. "Probably listen," I said. "Let her talk. Let her try whatever she thinks she needs to say. And then I'd walk away." Draven nodded slowly. Growth. More like exhaustion. A month later, I started seeing someone new. Her name's Jenna. She's the opposite of Melody in all the best ways. Not flashy, not calculated, just real. She tells me what she's feeling even when it's messy. She doesn't try to be perfect. She just tries to be honest. It's weird adjusting to that, to honesty without a hidden agenda. But it's also kind of amazing. I still run into people who knew about what happened. Whispers, side glances, the occasional awkward, "So, are you okay?" And yeah, I am. Because the worst part wasn't the lie itself. It was believing I owed someone loyalty just because they said they loved me. What Melody wanted was a boyfriend who'd protect her no matter what. What she got was a man who finally protected himself. Lila ended up transferring to a different apartment complex off campus. We grabbed coffee once before she moved, mostly to clear the air. "I'm sorry I didn't say more earlier," she told me. I shook my head. "You said enough." She paused, then added, "I think a part of her always thought you'd cover for her." She was almost right. But she wasn't, Lila said, and that's the part that matters. A couple weeks ago, I found that old record Melody gave back, the one I used to play when we cooked together or stayed in on rainy weekends. I held it in my hands for a few seconds, then slid it back onto the shelf. Not because I wanted to listen to it, because it reminded me that not every memory needs to be erased to be released. Some things don't have to be burned. Some things just don't belong to you anymore. So, yeah, maybe this isn't the kind of story that ends with revenge, or with me winning, or with Melody falling apart while I rise from the ashes. It ends with this. Me, sitting on my porch, drinking cheap coffee, watching the sky change colors, and knowing I'm not carrying her lies anymore. And if she ever tells this story from her side, I hope she remembers this part. The part where I could have lied, but chose to be free instead. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?